We make more of an impact now than I did then because we're addressing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and we're understanding that people are not inherently bad. Our goal is to help them find the good in their body and for them to love who they are. Hi, everyone. This is Christina, and I'm with Clayton Thomas, who is my husband.
Live from New York.
That's right. Why were we here?
Well, because...
Why are we here?
You're bringing sex to the city. No, that was already done.
That was already done. We're doing that later when the sex book
The sex
comes
book
out.
is coming. So apparently you are a multi-patented, award-winning scientist, entrepreneur, mom, and now it got even more recognition. So we had.
I am a wife too, so.
Oh, yes.
And
I don't get to
friend
brag
and
about that
daughter.
too much. Apparently, people get offended.
Really?
Yeah, some people don't like you being married to me because
yeah,
they
it
can't
doesn't
be
matter
married
what-
to you.
That's not true, and it doesn't matter what people think. That's not true, but it doesn't matter.
But you just got 2 Stevie Awards for your work in manufacturing and design and marketing for Ella Pure and Root and DRC Ventures and Strata. So we got to spend a little time in New York together with the crew.
I think it was great because, and I just want to say this, those awards have to do with really your marketing and business teams and your PR and what they do to showcase what you've done as a person or what the company's done. And I think it was interesting how they blended, and I love how our team did this from a corporate perspective. They blended innovative products in with DRC and Root, Ella Pure, basically all of our brands, because we got Consumer Products of the Year, innovation, also with manufacturing and patents. The different awards, I think, were very important to us because our products are so important, our manufacturing process, the patents that we write are so important because our goal is to really improve the world in different areas of life all over, starting, of course, with health and wellness, but we do everything, as it pertains to animals and to skincare and clothing and gas and oil and military. We have a lot of different brands under DRC, but Root is one of our biggest brands because of the things that it's doing with products in 92 countries. And I just want to tell you, thank you for your vision. Thank you for your tenacity and for how hard you've worked to get us to this point, because you were the rock, the foundation that started all this. And I say this all the time. I would never have done it. It was the year COVID hit. I was working on an emergency authorization project, and you started Root, and you used my formulas with my permission.
Oh, was I smart enough to invest in my wife?
You invested in your wife, but I didn't have the confidence at the time because I was worried about how do we even get packaging to send to 90 countries? How do we grow a company and get registration, compliance, legal, social media, everything in all these countries? And then, of course, that comes along. Anytime you launch people or a company, it comes with a lot of recognition and a lot of criticism. So when we launched this, I wasn't used to the criticism. I wasn't used to the attacks on everything that we did, which, because typically in my life when I worked in pharma and biotech, that never happened. When I ran stuff as a CEO, that never happened.
You were the ninja.
Well, I want to say this, with what you've done and now we've done, we're making an impact on the world in different ways, not because of us, but because of our teams and because of what we're doing. So that's hard to do.
I have
That's
a question.
hard.
I have a question for you on that, because you spent roughly 20 years in healthcare and biotech and such, and you got into the space because you wanted to help people, and you were working on, you worked at Alexion and one of the greatest blockbusting drugs in history, right? You've worked on solutions for proximal nocturnal hemoglobinuria and different kinds of cancer and sarcoidosis and
Scleroderma, pyoderma gangrenosum, yeah.
and some really, really terrible
Crohn's,
disease states, and some that are people that are very, very familiar with, you know, from
Like
different kinds of
HIV,
cancer,
Hep
HIV,
C, yeah.
Hep C.
Mm-hmm.
So with the work that you've done with those, right, and you exited that space due to some of the conflict, but taking what you learned from that and now what you've created and are being recognized for, and now have the patents applied for. And I think this is something we haven't talked about yet publicly. Do you feel, and this is the fun part with being the artist and the chef, right? Do you feel, or actually, let me rephrase this, because I have to have this conversation with you when it comes to your own health, because you're an MD and everything that you know. If you are to look at someone else that came from biotech, that worked on all of those things, but now over the last 6 years has been able to validate through clinical case studies and case series, has publications to outline the proof of true outcomes and performance, but then has filed for the intellectual property, has filed for patents to address the diagnoses of autism, of ADD and ADHD, of colon cancer, of neurodegenerative diseases, of respiratory viruses, of dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Would you say that that person is likely to have a greater impact from what they did in the biotech space or what they've created from a nutraceutical standpoint?
So in the biotech and pharma space, I did everything from sales to marketing, which is why I really understand marketing departments and sales and business. And then quickly I was moved, and you know this too, actually government contracts, psychiatric contracts, because I was in the field of psychiatry for a long time before I went into pharma.
What did you do in the psych space? You worked with sexually abused kids.
Do you mind if I answer the full question you just asked? Because you're asking me a lot of things, and I can't figure out how I answer everything at once.
Okay, go.
I'm sorry. There's a lot because you're so smart and you're so quick, Clay. And you asked me a question. You asked a bunch of questions,
I did.
by the way, but you wanted to know, I think one of the things you really wanted to know is, did I make more of an impact then or now? My answer is, I don't believe I'm the one that makes the impact. I think it's a collective group of people that work together towards a mission. I'm one of the pieces because I'm a scientist. Just like I was in pharma and biotech, I had different roles. I did different things. I have a medical degree from Kesman. The United States, I've never taken my medical boards. We don't recognize universities from other colleges. I do have a lot of degrees from this country too, but I did stuff internationally as well and was criticized at one point for it. I'm actually proud of it. I'm actually proud that I did. I wouldn't say proud. I'm thankful I did research and work in schools in different countries. I'm thankful I helped in South Africa and Africa to develop their medical schools and their programs where I was given a degree, and it wasn't honorary. I do have honorary degrees as well, but I don't practice as a medical doctor. I did the training, and I help teach, and I teach at other universities as well. I feel like I made an impact in different ways because I care about humanity. I don't know if I made more of an impact in pharmaceutical than now, but I feel like I make more of an impact now for the mission I want to accomplish, because my mission was, I've been sick most of my life. I have a family that's been sick. How do we make people genetically better? How do we reverse things that have gone on? How do we help the cells talk? I never was interested in making claims, because in the pharmaceutical biotech world, you don't actually make claims either. You go after an indication. You're not promising someone's going to be better forever. You give them a medication so you can help them. With what we're doing, we're supporting people regardless of a diagnosis. And I say this all the time. I don't care what your diagnosis is. I'm not saying we're going to cure you in any way. We're not going to make claims. We're going to support your natural body to get rid of the toxins and to give you the good things you need. Because I think I was in my 20s when all this started coming out about environmental factors are causing cancer and autoimmune disorders. People don't know this, but it used to be, it was a genetic. Like you got it from your family or you got it from something else. And then all of a sudden the scientific world really caught on to there's an environmental trigger that causes an epigenetic or causes something to happen that can trigger that. And yes, you may have a genetic component, but this particular thing, like a virus or GMOs or war, can impact the body to change those. So I think traveling to 92 countries, working in all these atmospheres in different situations from the East to the West, the Middle East, Asia. I worked all over the world, Russia, Ukraine, Lebanon, Syria. What did I learn? I learned that we don't have it right here. Like, we are smart. We're the United States. We have great schools, but they do too. And they approach things differently. You can't convince me, for an example, as a scientist, that a shaman or a tribal leader in Africa that's trying to help their people aren't able to, because they are. And they're using different herbs, and they're using different types of practices and different types of surgery than we use here. And I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to see that. And I think what you've given me by me being at Root is the opportunity to even further that education for me so I can help more people. But again, it's not really me helping them. It's giving people the power to help themselves, like to help their own bodies. It's working with a collective group. It's like the Stevie Awards. Like, we all got those awards. My name's on it because I'm the face of some of the stuff we're doing. But I made an impact only because of our corporate office and the other people that are on the same mission that we're on. And I 100% believe that. And people say to me, well, you're humble. Well, when you almost die of cancer, or you almost die like I did the other day from a surgery, of course you're humble. You know you could die in a second. You know you're not responsible for everything or anything. And you know your legacy has to be to teach people to be the best they can while you're also failing as a human. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, I think every day I notice my failures, I try to improve them, and then I try to impact people I'm around to encourage them, whether it's their health, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just to be the best they can be, because I really believe we have all these amazing people in this earth. I don't believe people are born bad. I think you're born and you come on this earth, and there's a sequence of events that can impact people where they make bad decisions. One of the things I want to do with my life is to reverse those bad decisions for people so they can make healthier and better decisions, so they have a better life. And I think Root does that. Like, if you look at the company that we've developed, we have an emotional, mental, spiritual component. We do constant Zoom calls. We do constant educational sessions. The thing I think that's been the hardest about that is I could be the best I could be every day, and I'm still going to get criticism every day, right? So this has been the first time in my life that I've had a barrage of positive messages every day, 500 to 2,000 messages. And then on the flip side, I get negative messages, right? But what that's showing me as a person is there are people in this world. We are living in a world where some people don't want to get better, where some people are more comfortable when things are bad than when they're good. Some people want to live in chaos and havoc. They don't mind if there's body's sick, because then they're a victim and they can talk about it, right? And that's not everyone. Those are some people. What my thing I really want to get across to people is, don't be bitter. Don't be angry. You have a diagnosis or something's happened to you. First of all, I say this all the time: live the life you want, not what's been prescribed. If I was living what's been prescribed for me right now,
you wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here, because I would be told I can't be here, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's too many things going on with my body. Again, that's a balance. You have to balance. We're not God. We don't have the answers. Neither is a doctor. They're not a God. They're making a guess. But we all have to listen to our own bodies and listen to our friends and family that we're close to make good decisions. And so one of the things I love about Root is we're giving products to people, tools to people to help the cells in their body make good decisions. Like, I really believe if you can get rid of the poison, get rid of the toxin in the body, support it with good things. It's not an overnight success, but gradually you will get better. On the flip side of that, as a psychologist, I also believe emotionally, mentally, and psychologically, spiritually, you can do the same thing. But again, it's a choice, just like it's a choice to put what food you put in your body. It's a choice to sleep. It's a choice to drink water. It's also a choice if you decide to improve the microbiome of your body so that maybe you can help yourself with depression and anxiety. And I'm not making a claim here. I'm being honest. If your microbiome is messed up on the inside of your body, you're not thinking right or doing things right. And so I feel like you've given people the opportunity to do all those things.
You're leading me into my next question because there's so many talking points around psychedelics, right? And this new phase that people are talking about in psychedelics, that mushrooms are going to lead us to the promised land.
I've never heard that, so I'm not sure where that's coming from.
It's coming from a lot of people talking.
Can you explain that to me? Because I'm not educated on that.
Well, and this is where I want you to kind of talk about where your knowledge and experience is in the understanding of like psilocybin and different mushrooms. And I mean all different kinds of mushrooms, right? Because we've had these conversations, but we've also been to different parts of South America and spoken to shaman and people that have been in that space, and they don't play with these things. But there was a publication, or there was a couple doctors that were talking about a recent publication about psychedelics in mushrooms, and that they're basically synthetically replacing endogenous serotonin.
So, natural mushrooms are synthetically, is what you said.
Yes,
that they're not synthetic.
Well, no, mushrooms are basically mimicking or providing the mimicry of serotonin.
Okay, I got that. Okay.
So you're actually you then start craving more of those mushrooms. So because the endogenous production of these important neurotransmitters is done in the gut, correct?
Yes.
Dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, 90% of that's done in the gut. So the interesting part is, while there's this push, well, let me hit on the first key part. You've actually done research with like doctors Rex and Rinaldi, studying like dementia and early onset Alzheimer's.
No, they basically, I was at Pfizer, they basically focus predominantly on fungus.
On fungus. And they found what in looking at fungus and how it pertains to some of those aggressive onset
They were
issues.
The ones that taught me that. Basically, when I went back to Harvard, the new research that now from them, I learned a lot about fungus, how you can grow it in the brain, when you open up someone, if they've been exposed, like histoplasmosis, for example, mycoplasma, there's all kinds of things you can get from like a thorn or a bird or a scratch from a cat, right? That can cause these debilitating conditions that it can kill people, right? And a lot of times they're not diagnosed till later. And so I studied that. That was at a much younger age. And then I went back and started, because I have so much Alzheimer's in my family and Parkinson's and different things and cancer. And Alzheimer's for me is a hot topic. It's a passionate project for me because both my grandmothers and my grandfather, Rahm, had it, right? And for me, it was watching some people, my grandparents I was as close to as my parents because they helped raise us. So it was watching these people I loved at a young age not remember me. Do you know what I mean? Or they would remember me, but they were different. They were almost childlike. And I didn't want the rest of my family, including me, to go through that. So now the latest research is showing there is a fungal and parasitic component. However, a lot of doctors have not accepted that. That's something you can hear all over Africa, Malaysia, Philippines, like they know that. But the United States is not a typical topic, in my opinion. I do not relate, though, just so you know, because I think I know where you're going. The mushroom microdosing phase that everyone's going through is not something I do, as you know. You saw me freak out at the house when you had chocolate, and I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not against, and I say this all the time, I never hold resentment or anger or think someone's not smart because they make another decision that I don't make. For me personally, the decision not to do that is because I actually love my brain. I'm thankful God gave it to me. I don't really want to make changes. If you said to me you could supercharge it and you would be smarter, I would say that's okay. I'll take what I have. If you asked me to go on some kind of spiritual journey to find more about myself so I can understand myself, I think I found myself when I was 5 years old. I knew what my purpose was. I knew that my goal was going to be to serve God. And, a lot of people will say that's a martyr or I'm too nice or they don't like that about me, and I don't care. That's what really happened in my life. That's what I wanted, because everybody wants something different. Some people want money. Some people want success. Some people want to be famous. I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to help children. I wanted to work with older people or special needs children. I wanted to work with children that had been hurt. And from my perspective, I knew what I was going to do. And if you ask me, did I get off track on that? Not really. I've continued, no matter what we've done, what I've done in the past, and you already know this, Clay, to give back to people that are the areas that I really care about, that matter to me. So I don't need to take like a mushroom and again, I'm not making fun of other people because I know it's helped some people, but from my perspective, I'm just going to accept who I am. Do I sometimes get depressed? Do I sometimes get sad?
But what do you do when you have that? You pop a 0 in? I do. Sometimes 3.
I use 0 in, but I also work out. I also write. I paint. I sit there and think, and I'll tell you what I really do. I make a list, and you see them all around my bed. Like, I got so upset the other day. Someone went through all my journals, and I do journals, constantly, and I'm not sure why they were moved in different places in my room, and I was not very happy about it. But I go through and I make a list of what I love, what I'm thankful for, and then what I'm going to do. And when I get to the third part about what I'm going to do, what I need to accomplish, I start feeling less upset because I realize, why am I feeling upset when I have so much left to do? It's kind of like when they came and told us I was going to die at the hospital. I think I told you this. I said, well, I'm not going to die because I have too much to do.
Yep, it's
and
not
then
done yet.
I prayed and asked and said,
So did I, actually.
let me please finish the stuff that I really think I need to do. Now, there's a little bit of arrogance of that because in my head and in my heart, I'm thinking, if I don't accomplish that, other people will. So one of the things I'm thankful for since I've met you is I feel like I have been able to do things that when I'm not here, people will remember we have made changes. We have helped people think through things. I don't want to live a life where I'm on a psychedelic, for example, because for me, I just want to live the life where I'm here. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I wish I could sleep more. That's my one big thing. I wish I could, there's things I wish I could be better at, but I don't think taking that I know that's not going to help me get to where I want. Here's the problem. I worked on SSRIs in the pharmaceutical industry. Those are game changers. They helped women when they got depressed. They helped them when they had children. But here's the problem. What happens with long-term use of SSRIs? And this is not to tell people they don't need to take antidepressants. Everyone's different. But it's like anti-anxiety. Like you take anything that's really helping you calm down considerably. Like if you're taking anything from Ritalin to Xanax I could go on and on.
Vyvanse, Adderall.
You're altering your mood and what's going on, and it's temporary. And the problem is, and I speak about this all the time, the neurotransmitters get used to that. And what people don't understand is when you use drugs or psychedelics, or you use even some pharmaceutical medication, your body gets so used to it, it doesn't know how to operate without it. And so what happens is you crave it, you want it, you don't even understand. People go to addiction clinics, but the truth is they didn't mean to get addicted. The doctor or someone told them, take this for ADHD, take this for anxiety. Long term, that just doesn't work. Like people think that it's just kids that take it. Stay-at-home moms all the time take stuff because they need a Xanax to calm down, right? I have news for everyone. Work out, do something else. Don't sit and take medication that's addictive, that depletes your neurotransmission and depletes the chemicals in your body, so that without that medication, you can't operate function appropriately. And that's my story to everyone. I don't care if it's a psychedelic or a medication or anything. You just can't do that to your body, because this is your one body you have. If you deplete, or if you give your body something that makes it think it has to have that in replace of something else, it takes years to reverse that. And that's all I'm going to say. And then people go to these addiction clinics, and I feel bad for them, because I don't blame them. I think they never intended to get to that point. But along with addiction comes depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, and none of those are fun. So here's what I'm going to say. If you offer me a psychedelic or a mushroom, my answer, I think we were in somewhere, we went, and you were with me, they offered me Molly. I'm like, are you joking? I didn't know what it was. You explained it to me. I'm like, that's never happening. Am I judging the people there? No, but for my body, my brain, I know differently. I know I shouldn't take it. So if you look at the brain and you do scans, as psychologists, you can look and see schizophrenia. Mm-hmm. You can look and see different patterns of depression. I would love for people to be able to look at what's happening with their brain when they're taking different things like psychedelics, because it's not a good thing.
Are you talking about starting the new Nancy Reagan campaign and be like, this is your brain? This is your brain on drugs?
Well, so here's the thing. Again, it's such a movement in this country and everywhere else. And again, to everyone out there, I'm not judging. I haven't lived your life. Like, one of the things I have the ability to do is understand I haven't gone through what people have gone through to make sure they have to do that. Like, they must have gone through extreme stress and anxiety. And Clay, let me just say this. You know my life. I've gone through extreme stress.
You've had a little bit more than most.
I've gone through extreme lots.
What do you think was...
Like bombing in Lebanon. Like,
you got kidnapped in Tetuan.
No, my whole point is that's never been my choice. And I'm very thankful for it, because there were different points in my life where I considered things. And then I realized this is just not where it's going to lead me. What am I going to do when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old? And it was not a choice to be that person that doesn't remember things, that thinks differently, because my brain's been altered. However, I'm going to say it one more time. If it were my child, if it were my family member, if it were me, and I had no other option but to do something like this, I can see making the decision. I thankfully haven't. My family hasn't. But I'm not here to judge what other people do.
When you say haven't, you mean haven't had a point to where you have no other options, or haven't made the choice to use some of those mechanisms that can screw you up?
I've had a lot of situations happen in my life where you would think that would be the option. I remember going through, after a very, very, very bad time in my life, and going to psychologists that are some of the top psychologists in this world. And I think you know this, Lee McCormick, like, he started all your famous rehab centers. And they were like, she needs 6 weeks intensive therapy at least, where she's watched and she's on medication and she can really work through all the trauma and abuse she's been through, because we've never seen a case this bad. And of course, that took months to get me to tell the truth about what had happened. And I chose not to do it. I said, I'm not doing it. Now, I probably should have, but I had 4 kids to raise at the time and no money. And so I didn't have an option. So yes, everyone, I've made money throughout my career. I've worked with great companies, but there's been things that have happened.
Not your doing.
Where, I don't know, but decisions I made that we lost things and I didn't have anything and I had to rebuild. My decision, though, was I don't know if I ever once, just so you know, thought about that option. Does that make sense? Like, I knew it was an option. I knew friends that did that when they couldn't handle things.
Just check out.
Just check out, but it wasn't my option, and I'll tell you why. I had to get up the next day to support my kids. I had to get up when they're sick and they're vomiting to cook for them, and there were 4, to there were always 4 sports on any given night, but to try to go to at least one. I mean, you helped me when I met you. There's like 4. How do you go to 4 games? And I remember adding merit onto that was 3 games, maybe 4. I'm like, I can't get to all of it. And I think that's when I started feeling like I wasn't good enough too, because I wanted to be a mother that could be at everything and support the family, because I was the one working to support the family. But I couldn't do everything. So here's what I did. I prayed, talked to God, made the best option possible, kept a journal, wrote notes, did the best I can. And then I had all these other mothers on the side, and even my own family, and people saying, you should do this. You should be better at this. And I wanted to say every time, let me evaluate your life. Because it's easy to say you should do something different if you don't have to work, if someone's cleaning your house, if someone's doing your yard, you can get your nails done, you can play golf, you can go do whatever you want every day. I personally never had that option. So for me, here's what I did. Rather than being angry at the people that had that option, I decided I'm going to take the option of being the best me I can be in my situation God gave me. And then here was the decision I made. There's only one person I need to make happy, and it's God. So I doubled down on that, and people don't know that about me, but I would spend hours all day talking to God, writing a letter, talking to him, asking him, what should I do? Please love me, help me feel loved. And he did. That was my solution rather than doing other things. But again, everyone finds a different path. And my path wasn't just going to church on Sunday, because I grew up in church 4 times a week. I love Jesus Christ. I love God. I understand other religions, and I celebrate if that's their decision. But of course, my salvation, my hope, my faith is in this one thing. So no matter whatever happened, that's what I leaned on, and I've never been disappointed.
Is it true that in your younger years, when you were doing psychology, you were working with sexually abused kids, and you did was it an internship in Pritchard, Alabama?
No, the governor of Alabama had a program that was an experimental program where they needed to pick, or they didn't need, they decided to pick students that were from school they could use as probation officers in the projects. In Pritchard, Alabama back then, and you can Google this, that was, how old was I? I was really young. So this was like when I was 21. I was living with Susan Corbo. We were roommates, and this opportunity came up. And I'm just going to be, so I'm majoring in psychology and criminal justice, right? Thinking I'm going to work for the CIA or the FBI, literally. Or my third choice was I wanted to work in prison systems and be a psychologist for prison systems in the top security prisons. My dad talked me out of all that, by the way. But because my dad was like, you have to carry a gun. Are you going to be okay with that? I'm like, not really.
He's like, no.
But you know, that ability for me, like that understanding of what I could do and then what I wanted to do, really drove me back again at a young age to how can I experience something I don't know. I grew up in a small farming town, very protected. One on my first date, my dad went to the movie. He followed me home. So I was the opposite of a child that had gone through sexual abuse. I was opposite of a child that was raised in the projects where there's guns everywhere and there's drugs everywhere. And of course, you know me. I remember looking this up, going to the library. At the time, we didn't have computers, trying to research, why are there so many guns and killing? And that's what kind of led me to understand we're kind of supplying those. You know what I mean?
Situational design.
Like, wait a minute, are we trying to kill all these people? Like, what's happening? But for me, Clay, it really brought me to a path of me trying to go into every situation possible that I didn't understand so I could relate and understand other people. And this is where it brought me. People that are in gangs are just as good as people that aren't. They were raised in a different situation. They did not have the experiences or the money that I had. A lot of them were loved by their mothers, but their mothers had to work so hard, and their fathers, but their dad did too. And it was a war zone. So for me, that situation coupled with the situation of being a room parent, with Gene Cleveland. You know, we've talked about this with sexually abused kids that tried to cut their wrists at night or tried to hang themselves, and we had to deal with it. And I was young. I'm in a sorority and I'm young, and this is what I'm choosing, right? This is what I'm learning. I still remember Susan saying to me, why are you doing all of this? But to me, it was really important that I could relate, because when I would pray or when I would think about things, it kept hitting me. I am thinking these things, but I don't know reality. I have a very hard time with these people that sit in houses and that have money and have never related to all these things. They can talk about it, they can read about it, but have they ever experienced it? Are you going to places to help orphans? Are you going into situations where there's homeless people? Are you going into psych wards? Are you meeting with children that have been sexually abused, and do you care? Are you just writing that off? But for me, it led me to understand I have so much more to do, and I'm not doing enough. And I've carried that with me throughout the rest of my life, because you can't judge someone who's been sexually abused their whole life, especially trafficked by multiple people. You just can't. You have no clue what their spirit, what their heart, what their physical body has gone through, physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. So I am very in tune for that. Same way with gang members. I had one of my favorite, I did this for 4 years. It was a joke. They said that I would never make it because I was a female and I was white, and I was the only one that was white, right? And only female white going into the project. My mom cut it, you know the story. My mom cut me off, my dad, because they were worried about me, and I understand
Your
that
dad
now.
came to check on you.
My mother went with me into the projects, and they said there's no way I was going to do it. So anyway, what ended up happening is I fell in love with the people I worked with. And when I say I fell in love with them, I felt their hearts. I identified with them. The favorite person I have, and I do know his name, I'm not going to say it, he killed someone under my watch. And I had been with him the day before, and right after it happened, I had to go to the prison and sit down. It was a juvenile center. He was 17. And he was upset because they had slit his mother's tires, and they had stolen money from him and his siblings, and he was the oldest, and he couldn't take it anymore because they were abusing his family, so he killed the guy. Was he wrong or right? My answer is I don't know, but what I know is I love him, and I pray for him to this day, because he was trying to defend his family. 99.9% of America or the world would not understand that. They would blame that person, say they need to be in jail forever. And that's where I think we all have got to understand everything. And that's when I go back to the patents when you ask me. I want to say this again. I feel like we make more of an impact now than I did then, because we're addressing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and we're understanding that people are not inherently bad. Our goal is to help them find the good in their body and for them to love who they are so they can change their life, because you have to love yourself first. And in pharmaceutical, we don't talk about that. But you cannot make your life better or help others unless you love yourself. And that's where America, and that's where people have got to step in, and they have to change, including me. I have to daily go back to that and think, like you see me, I get mad about something. And then at the end of the day, does it really matter? No, because we only have this one life. And our true reason we're here, Clay, is to help. I mean, I think we're here to serve God, but we're also here to help humanity.
But isn't that the same thing?
If helping humanity is serving God, that's the same thing. If helping humanity is doing something wrong because of a political belief or a misconception spiritually, then no, we're not. No, it's not the same thing.
That's a disservice. You're correct.
And I think it's confusing for some people. Like, God is not a religion. God is not a political conviction. And the truth is, we should be treating everyone, regardless of their political belief, regardless of their religion, we should treat them the same and with love and compassion and forgiveness. And that's the truth. And I don't know what's happened where we're not doing that.
Got me on that one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a number.
So we are doing things, I think, that were more than what I did before.
I'm going to put a number to it, and I want you to, because we haven't talked about this, but we'll go over it now. Because you've gone over the health aspect, the physical, the mental, the psychological, the spiritual, the emotional. The other side is financial. Part of our deal and your deal prior to me in your journey was that you were going to give away half of what you made to do what you were just talking about doing. So in these last 5 years of this little journey thus far into this sociological, spiritual project, which is why there's a cross in the middle of our logo, you're responsible because you told me that this was the rule.
Yeah.
You're responsible for giving away $100 million over the last 5 years. Is that significant to go along with the health aspect, you think? $100 million.
Not for me, it's not.
What do you mean?
So I guess we only know our own hearts. And I know the conviction I feel in my heart. It's not enough.
So how do we do more?
So first of all, for me, it's like understanding, and I think that's why the Rahm Foundation is so important. And, you've got Karen Floyd on that board, Joyce Smallwood, Duquesne.
Biggie Pants, let's be correct
Biggie
in
Pants, Duquesne, and my family. So I really feel like this is a missing piece that I've missed, because the truth is you're never supposed to talk about what you give. So this is from the Bible, or this is how I was taught, and I've read the Bible multiple times. So you've
also read the Quran. You've read.
Yeah, but it goes back to my like, we're all different. That's why I said I don't judge. Everyone's different. My personal belief is I know when I'm wrong. I know when I'm spiritually convicted of how I need to be better. I'm too hard on myself sometimes, and here's how, and I'm going to get back to your answer. I'm too hard because I want to make everyone happy. And when you're in 92 countries with hundreds of thousands of people that you're serving and millions of people on social media, you can't make everyone happy. And so a lot of times what happens is when I don't make people happy is they turn against me and they say mean things or they try to hurt me. And I told you it's something I can't understand. They're like asking me to speak, asking me to come, asking me to help. And when I can't do it, they're mad, right? I know instinctively they're wrong and I'm not wrong because I'm not God, right? I can't be everywhere at once. And I don't want to be God because there's only one God to me, right? So I'm trying my best to do the best in a human body that I have. For the money aspect, it's hard because when you're a company and you're working with diplomats and presidents and prime ministers and you're working in fashion and you're working in skincare, you have to spend money to do that, right? You have to look appropriate. You have to be appropriate. But the truth is, when I really go into it, I could have done more. I could have given more. I could have worked with the Rahm Foundation, which we are really diving into that next year. So it's not me giving, so it's a foundation giving, right? Because again, I don't want it to come from me. The only money I have is from God. I don't have it, right? So it's kind of like he's given me a loan or a line of credit so I can help people and I can help our businesses do what we need to do. So no, I'm not happy with what I've done. I feel like I could have done more. I feel like in the future, this next year, I've got to make changes. I feel like there's so many people suffering now, and we don't have a pulse on it because even our media, our PR, we're hiding it, right? Because we don't want everyone to panic. We went through a horrible pandemic. The last thing we want is an economic crisis right now. So from my perspective,
But didn't you call that?
I need to do more.
Didn't you call that?
I did.
So
it was just common sense, though, for me, Clay. It wasn't like when you have anything like we went through as a pandemic, you're going to have an economic crisis following that. This is just my thought process on this. So yeah, I would say, well, you heard me. I did podcasts. I talked about it a lot. I was worried about fungus. I was worried about parasites. I was worried about our economy because it was going to be a rough, really rough 5 years, hard 10 years because of the economy. And I'm fine with that. Like, we've gone through this our whole lives. Like, if you really look at history, and I hope people listen to this, we've gone through depressions. We've gone through economic crisis. We can come out of it. This world is not over. It's an opportunity for us to reset, or like me, reevaluate what we're doing and change. And I want to say this other thing, because I didn't bring this up. Tithing or giving money is not just about money. If you really read what we're supposed to do, and this is where I think the stay-at-home moms like my sister or Mimi or different people I know that I respect so much, they're working, they're volunteering, they're cooking for their kids, they're making sure their husbands are okay. And, I try my best, but they're doing probably a better job than I am. And then they're helping causes which are equally as important as what I'm doing, because it doesn't have to be money. You're supposed to give of yourself. But if you have the money, it includes the money. And so I think there's so many ways as human beings we can give back. If you don't have money, don't feel guilty. Don't think I'm better, because I'm not. It's simply we're all supposed to give the gifts we have, which means you're not supposed to brag. You're not supposed to tell people when you buy them something. You're just supposed to be there and be a good human and help them. Because anytime you say, well, I gave you this money, and you know this about me, when I loan people money, I don't expect the money back.
You don't loan, you give.
I give. So from my perspective, there's a lot of things we need to change, a lot of things we need to do better at DRC and Root. And personally, I think those companies have been amazing, but personally, I think the two of us have a lot more we can give and a lot more we can do. And I think we personally have to have that conviction to do that. And then on the flip side, I'm done letting people or allowing people to make me feel guilty. I'm done having people try to control me. I think I have a good grasp because I have one person that is my sole source of knowing when I'm doing things okay, and that's God. And I love you. I love my children. I love my friends. But ultimately, I don't need everyone's approval. I just need one approval. That's basically the summary.
I got nothing.
I want to thank you for allowing me to be me, because honestly, it's a lot, I think, for anyone to incorporate people into their lives. And I think when people have a lot of people around them, it makes it even harder. So I just want to tell you, thank you for loving me.
You're welcome. I love you too. I love you more every day.